Have you ever noticed how hard it is to focus? Not just for a moment, but really focus without moving, checking, or scrolling. Today, everything competes for our attention. One notification, one video, one swipe, one shortcut. And it's not just a feeling. Gloria Mark, a researcher from the University of California who studies attention in real world settings, has found out that people spend about 47 seconds on a screen before shifting to something else. 47 seconds. So if focusing feels hard to you, it's not because you're bad at it. It's because we're growing up in a world that's designed to pull our attention away. And when that's the world we grow up in, staying with anything that feels slow can almost feel impossible. For me, that struggle showed up early, and the way I learned to deal with it started when I was very young. When I was 5 years old, I started playing the guitar. Like many kids, I learned by listening, copying, and memorizing what I heard. It felt natural, it felt fun, and progress came quickly. About a year and a half later, I was introduced to a very different instrument, the guitar. It felt like it came from another world, with a long neck, a hollow body, and a sound unlike anything I'd played before. But what surprised me the most wasn't how it looked. It was what it was designed to do. A guitar is built for precision. The frets tell you exactly where to play. You press, you play, and you get the sound. The guitar is different. It's built for expression. Notes bend, slide, and stretch, just like human vocal cords. That's because this guitar was created to imitate human voice. And that meant it literally forced me to slow down. If you rush it, the sound wouldn't feel right. It's like playing a YouTube video on 2x speed. Everything is still there, but it feels rushed and disconnected. This made me give this guitar my full attention. My teacher made sure of this, and didn't rush me to play long, complicated songs. Instead, he made me learn short lines of notes and repeat them again and again. Sometimes for days, sometimes for weeks. At first, it felt boring, confusing, and then really frustrating. When you're 6 years old, you don't pay much attention to focus or discipline. You listen, you copy, and you repeat. 3 simple steps. You play it until it sounds right to your own ears. But as I grew older, I realized something important. Playing it until it sounds right isn't the same as learning. Real learning is remembering patterns, staying focused even when nothing exciting is happening, and trusting that repetition has a purpose, even when you don't see progress right away. That was hard for me, because memorization has never come easily. Repeating the same thing over and over again felt frustrating. There were moments I thought, maybe I'm just not good at this, or maybe I should just quit. And every time I felt stuck, my teacher would say something simple. Stay with it. Not to be perfect, not to go faster, just stay with it. At the time, it sounded almost too simple. But that sentence slowly changed how I think. Because what I was learning wasn't just music. I was learning how to stay present when my mind wanted to escape. How to sit with discomfort instead of quitting. How to keep going when progress felt slow. And over time, something began to change. I noticed I could focus longer. I became more patient with myself. I didn't give up as quickly when something felt difficult. Not because music magically made everything easier, but because it trained my attention. Focus isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. There's a quote by Alexander Graham Bell that captures this perfectly. Concentrate all your thoughts upon the work at hand. The sun's rays do not burn until brought to a focus. That really stuck with me, because focus isn't about adding more. It's about bringing your attention to one place long enough for something to change. Now, this isn't really a talk about music. Music was my entry point, but the lesson goes far beyond instruments. Activities that require repetition and attention, like music, train your ability to stay with something instead of constantly moving on. And that skill matters everywhere. But here's the most important part. You don't need to be a musician for this to work. Not everyone can play an instrument. Not everyone wants to. And that's okay. What matters isn't what you do, it's how long you stay with it. That's why even something simple like walking can help. In an experiment shared by the American Psychological Association, researchers found out that people were about 60% more creative while walking compared to sitting. Not because walking solves your problems, but because it gives your mind space to slow down and focus infinitely. When you walk, you're not scrolling. You're not switching tasks. You're not rushing on to the next thing. You're giving your attention one job. And sometimes that's exactly what focus needs. I don't think the biggest challenge for young people today is a lack of motivation. I think it's that we're constantly being trained to move on to the instant when something feels slow. We scroll when we're bored. We switch when we feel uncomfortable. We quit before giving ourselves the chance to grow. So the real question is not, what activity should I do? The real question is, what am I doing in my life that teaches me to stay so that my focus would improve? Music did that for me, but it could also do something different for you too. What matters is choosing something meaningful and staying with it long enough for it to change how you focus. For a long time, I thought struggle meant something is wrong with me. Music taught me different. Struggle doesn't mean stop. It means you're still in the process. It means you're still learning. And growth doesn't come from quitting early. It comes from staying just a little longer than you want to. That's how I learned what unstoppable focus really feels like. So here's my challenge to you. 3 simple steps. Number 1, choose an activity that's meaningful to you. 2, give it 10 uninterrupted minutes. Phones away, notifications off. 3, when it becomes uncomfortable, stay with it. Because focus isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. And now, I'd like to let the sitar speak.